Get your greasy little face up next to the radio because it's time for America's favorite radio program, Animal Stories. And now here in person is the Animal Stories news team anchorman, your charming and delightful old Uncle Lair, and him in person, little Tommy. Hi, Tommy.
Good morning, Uncle Lair. Good morning. Hi, everybody.
Python attacks Pekingese.
I know who won.
Python attacks Pekingese. Little Tommy, that's a top story this morning. Plus, we'll have the answer to this question. What do you do when your chinchillas get constipated? Dateline, Durban, South Africa. Says here, little Tommy, that a suburban couple thought their maid was joking when she told them that a snake was eating their dog. But sure enough, they changed their mind real quick when they went out into the backyard and found this Pekingese in the mouth of a 9-foot python.
Good grief.
It was a nightmare for him, little Tommy.
Sounds like it.
Wasn't any picnic for the Pekingese either.
Is he going to be okay, Uncle Lair?
As a matter of fact, no, he's not, little Tommy. Says a woman said her husband jumped on the snake's back while she pried open the jaws, and then the maid pulled this whining Pekingese out. Pekingese are such wimpy dogs. Just because they're getting swallowed by a python, they start whining. He was still alive when they got him out of the python's mouth, little Tommy.
Yeah?
But shortly afterwards, he went into shock and passed away.
Python going to be okay, Uncle Lair?
Python's going to be fine. He slithered away into the jungle. They told the authorities about it. They reported this incident, but the authorities warned them that if they saw that snake again, they could not harm it because pythons are on the protected wildlife list.
Oh. Pekingese aren't, I imagine, huh?
No, lots of them. There's a very interesting article here about chinchilla raising. Now then, this is a subject for today's animal story quiz, little Tommy, and that is, what do you give a chinchilla for constipation? I'll give you a hint, little Tommy. it's a fruit. Oh. And you have 5 seconds for a shiny new dime. Good luck to you.
How about a prune?
No, that's very close. Oh, you give them
raisins.
That's it.
Hey, that's awful close. I think I should get it.
That's how a chinchilla spells relief. R-A-I-S-E-N, raisin. Or is it O-N?
How about A-I-N?
I don't know. Well, there was this Chicago woman who was mad at this guy because several years ago she thought this guy had stolen her dog. So to get even with him, she was bent on revenge here. She kidnapped his parrot.
Oh.
Then, it says here, killed the parrot, cooked it, and fed it to her 96-year-old grandmother.
She grabbed his bird, she cooked it, and fed it to her grandmother?
That's right, little Tommy.
my
Parrot's
God.
name, the late parrot, his name Arturo, was a Panamanian parrot who was said to speak 3 languages.
Oh, my God.
And 8 scrambled eggs, rice, and potatoes. Very strange parrot. Said he spoke Spanish when the guy first bought him a couple of years ago, and then subsequently learned English, Italian, and a few German phrases before his untimely death.
Yeah.
No comment from the grandmother as to how he tasted. Here's a great story from Newbury Park, California. Guy was pumping gas at his gas station when this car drove in. Man got out with this big German Shepherd, little Tommy. Said his dog was attack trained, and unless the guy handed over the money from the cash register, he was going to order his dog to attack the guy. The guy wasn't afraid, though, little Tommy. He just punched the German Shepherd in the mouth. Punched his German Shepherd right in the mouth, chipped his tooth, and the dog ran away. And the robber got into his car and fled. kind of beat the attack dog to the draw. I'll bet when that robber got home and his dog came home later. See, the guy just jumped in his car and deserted his dog. His dog had to make it home by himself. I'll bet when he got home, he was really mad at his dog. Well, it turns out there may be a little panda on the way at the Tokyo Zoo after all, little Tommy. That's Can and Lang Lang over there.
Oh, yeah.
Lan Lan is the female, and they think she might be pregnant. See, they mated last year, and Lan Lan was pregnant, but had a miscarriage in the final weeks of her pregnancy, as you'll recall. But according to zoo officials in Tokyo, they mated recently on a balmy spring morning.
Oh.
In fact, it was so great, I guess they mated twice. What better way to spend a balmy spring morning? Sure beats breakfast.
Uncle Larry, isn't one of those is just in love with the tire, right? The
that's
boy panda.
That's what they said last week, but evidently he got tired of the tire and decided to try something a little more exciting. So, guy from Ocean City, Maryland, was out surfing. He was paddling his surfboard out there, looking for the big wave. He's going to hang 10. Looked over to the side there, and there's this great, big, huge shark.
Ooh, wow.
He turned that surfboard
I bet he
around.
didn't hang. He didn't hang one, did he?
It was a nightmare for him, little Tommy.
Sounds like it.
Just about wet his pants. He turned that surfboard around real fast, paddled as fast as he could, ran up on the beach. Then he discovered the shark was dead. It was just floating there.
Belly up?
Yeah, but he said it was still scary. Crazed woodchucks attack toilet seats. We're going to have animal story quiz on this, too, little
good.
Tommy. Seems that there's this place in Fort Wayne called the Fox Island Nature Preserve, and they got a bunch of woodchucks there. And what's going on here is these woodchucks getting into the outdoor toilets. They're at the Nature Preserve and eating the toilet seats. Is that kinky or what?
Yeah.
Okay, time for animal story quiz. This quiz has 2 parts. You have to get both of them correct to win the shiny new dime. The first one, I won't even give you a time limit because I know you'll get this first one right.
Okay.
A woodchuck is synonymous with what? It's another name for what animal?
It's like a groundhog, that family.
Groundhog, that's right, little Tommy. Now, the second question is a little tougher.
Yeah.
Why do you think these woodchucks would be eating these toilet seats?
How much wood can a woodchuck?
So you have 5 seconds.
Let's see.
Good luck to you for a shiny new dime. Why are those woodchucks
Woodchuck.
eating the toilet
Eating the toilet
seats in
seats
Fort
in
Wayne,
Fort Wayne,
Indiana?
Probably something that's in the wood, I'd say. Now, the question is, what's in the wood?
You've got to be
that
a
we
little
would
more
need?
specific, but
I'll say,
you're hot. You're
I'll
on the
say
right
that
track.
they wouldn't want lead because of the paint. So I'll say salt. Probably salt in the toilet seats.
You got it.
I did it! I did it!
See if I have a shiny new dime for you, little Tommy.
Hey! All right.
Well, here
there it
is a
is.
shiny new dime.
Thanks, Uncle Lair.
See, what happens is
Hey.
people come into this Fox Island Nature Preserve in the summer. They're all hot and sweaty. And they go to the toilet. Little Tommy and his salt gets in the toilet seats. Groundhogs come along, eat the toilet seats. They say as fast as they replace them groundhogs eat them up. You'd think they'd switch to plastic. You'd think they'd get smart. Well, that's terrible. That's disgusting. So far, those woodchucks have eaten 9 toilet seats in Fort Wayne. We'll keep you up to date on that crisis. I love this headline here. It says, "Woodchucks eat from the bowl." There are bureau chiefs for the greater Wakarusa metropolitan area. You ever heard of Wakarusa?
No,
Indiana?
no.
Me neither. It's a little bitty town. They sent me a copy of front page of a couple editions of their Wakarusa paper. It's just a little bitty paper for a little bitty town.
Is there a second page to the paper?
Yeah, the second page is on the back of the first page, Tommy. And this is one of those little bitty papers where, geez, it's, in a place like Wakarusa, there's no news. They got to fill it up with something. Stories about a cow here made the front page. There's some other interesting stories here on the front page, too, about the big maple syrup festival that's coming up in Wakarusa.
When is that?
That's March 28th and 29th for you tourists who happen to be in the area. If you think some of the stories on page 1 are dumb, you ought to see page 2.
Is it the sports pages?
Well, on the front page here is this story about this cow. Now, this is registered cow, one of those real classy things. His name is Contented Linda Grace. See, a lot of purebred animals, registered cows, thoroughbred horses, purebred dogs, got names half a block long, Reason they got those long names is because when they're registered, a lot of times they incorporate the names of the mother and father and half their ancestors in their name, Now, it was different when I was growing up on a farm. We didn't have any classy registered cows. We just had regular old cows with regular old names.
Brownie, Susie.
Yeah. Had one real ugly cow. We called her Horseface. We had another cow called Old One Eye. Old One Eye had an accident with some barbed wire.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, on with this story about, this cow named Contented Linda Grace. Says here on the front page of the Wakarusa, Indiana Tribune. Contented Linda Grace, a dairy heifer owned by Dean Engelmeyer, son of Mr. and Mrs. Lowell Engelmeyer, has been declared the best 4-H dairy animal in its age class in the world.
Wow.
Dean was notified Monday that his heifer has been judged Junior All-American by Holstein World Magazine, meaning that she was judged the best of 6 animals nominated for the top world honor. By virtue of the world distinction earned by the heifer, her picture will be on the All-American Holstein 1980 calendar, which will be distributed throughout the world.
Wow.
Now, this is on the front page, and this happened on Monday. Now, in the next edition, also on the front page, the following story. Contented Linda Grace, the dairy heifer just declared the best 4-H dairy animal in its age class in the world, died Tuesday morning in the barn at the farm of Mr. and Mrs. Lowell Engelmeyer.
What happened?
I mean, she got this big award Monday, checked out Tuesday.
Too much for her.
Doesn't say exactly what happened here, little Tommy. Says veterinarians were called to the farm, pronounced the heifer dead.
Yep,
I don't know.
Dead.
I don't know why you have to call the vets to pronounce a heifer dead. I mean, whenever one of our cows died, we just looked at it and say, hey, that cow's dead all right. We didn't have to call no vet. They
That'll
said
be 22.50, please.
They said no autopsy was performed. But, this is really tragic, little Tommy. It's a blow not only to the Engelmeyers, but to the entire community because, every community needs something to be proud of.
Sure.
Like French Lick, Indiana's got Larry Bird.
That's right.
And for one day, these people in Wakarusa could hold their heads high and say, hey, we have the best Holstein heifer in the world. And the next day, they had nothing. It's tragic. I think it would be appropriate now if we paused for a moment of silence, little Tommy, out of respect for the memory of this great Holstein heifer that gave her life for no apparent reason. So we'll pause now. I hope they could still put her on the calendar, though, I think. Just to have a shot of her with all 4 legs sticking straight up in the air and maybe a couple of buzzards circling overhead.
She was good while she lasted.
Well, Tommy, you have probably often wondered why camels can go so long without water.
Oh, I know that. They stick the water up there in the hump.
No, they don't.
Oh.
That's a common fallacy. All that's in that hump, little Tommy, is fat.
Oh.
This is very educational here. Scientists have been studying this for 30 years, trying to figure out how come camels can go for such long periods in the desert without water. And they've been doing some experiments on camels around the Dead Sea in Israel. Well, they found out. It's because camels have this great big huge membrane in their nose. Now see, okay, you look up my nose.
It's not their humps?
No, it's not, little Tommy.
What do they use the humps for?
I don't know.
What do you want?
You look up my nose.
Okay.
Little Tommy. Now, you see a membrane up there. It's only about in your average human nose.
Way up there, yeah.
Only covers about 4 7/10 square inches, while if you looked up a camel's nose, their membrane totals nearly 400 square inches.
Wow.
So, you see, that acts as kind of a one-way valve. It moistens the dry desert air as they inhale it into their lungs, but then it holds back the moisture when the air is exhaled. See, now, when I breathe in and out, I'm losing a lot of moisture there.
Got a Kleenex?
But the camel's got that huge membrane and doesn't let the moisture out, and that's how come they can, they save about 68% of the moisture.
How about that?
Way, see?
What's that membrane called?
It's called a camel's nose membrane.
Oh, that's the scientific name?
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have for animal stories this morning, boys and girls. Tune in again at this same time tomorrow for more.
Can I stop looking up your nose now?
Yeah, it might be a good idea, little Tommy. A tragic story in the insect news from my own personal experience
Oh,
yesterday.
really?
Well, Tommy, I was out on the golf course yesterday with Jeff Hendricks and a couple of other guys. And we were walking down the fairway, and there was this teenage-type kid who worked for the golf course, and he was driving around this little tractor and pulling this little cart, and he was picking up limbs that had been blown down in the last storm from the trees.
Uh-huh.
And I was walking right by him. He was underneath this one tree, and there was this great big long limb, and it was too long to fit in his cart, so he was going to break it in half. And he stuck his foot in the middle of it and, pulled on one end and snapped it, and then he lost his balance and fell down, and the part that he'd broken off hit this tree limb right above him, and right there was this huge hornet's nest, little Tommy. Within 1 second, his body was covered with hornets.
Kid gonna be okay?
I think so. We saw him back out on the golf course about 3 hours later. He was working again, but he was running and screaming, and it was terrible.
Did you do anything to help this kid?
No, I ran as fast as I could in the opposite direction, little Tommy. There's not much you can do when somebody gets attacked by hornets.
Yeah?
Except just get out of there. So that's what I did. It seemed like, I know it doesn't sound too heroic, but hey, I don't want to get stung. But I don't think he even went to the hospital, and I think, boys and girls, if you ever get stung by a whole swarm of bees or a bunch of hornets, the first thing you better do is get yourself to a hospital.
Yeah.
Well, here's something we got in the mail this morning, little Tommy.
Don't you feel a little embarrassed that you didn't even do anything for
Hey,
him?
what am I supposed to do? Get off my back? I mean, the hornets are all over
if a
this
guy's
guy.
on fire, you take a coat and you wrap him and you roll him on the ground and put the fire out.
Right. Well, what are you supposed to do with hornets? Now, I could have went up there and helped him beat off them hornets, and they just started stinging me too. Hey, no thanks. Well, here's something we got in the mail.
Did he know that you just stood there and, just took off running?
Hey, he was...
What did he say 3 hours later?
Well,
hey, thanks, pal.
He didn't speak to me, little Tommy. But really, there was nothing I could do to help him. So he'd just kind of knock it off. Police horse stomps elderly woman.
Wow.
Here's a great story from St. Louis. Little Tommy says a 60-year-old woman was knocked down Friday night when she was hit by a police horse, bolted into a saloon on the St. Louis River. This mounted policeman was sitting on his horse in front of the Muddy Waters Tavern, and some drunk stuck a pin in his horse's rear end.
Yeah?
Horse naturally was startled, bolted right through the open doors of the tavern, and ran right over this 60-year-old woman, knocked her to the floor, but she's going to be okay.
Oh, wow.
Well, this poodle story is going to bring a tear to your eye, little Tommy. He writes, "Dear Uncle Larry and little Tommy, recently I was witness to a tragic event, and I wanted you and your faithful listeners to share my sorrow. As I was entering the liquor store in Lake Forest to buy my lunch the other day, I noticed a toy poodle trying to thread his way through the traffic at Lake Forest's busiest intersection. After being narrowly missed by 2 Cadillacs and a Mercedes SL, of course, Lake Forest is a wealthy community.
Sure is.
After being narrowly missed by these 2 Cadillacs and a Mercedes SL, it arrived safely at the far side of the street, and I and my fellow bystanders breathed a collective sigh of relief. Continuing on its jaunty way, the tiny dog then made the fatal mistake of stopping to squat on the adjacent Chicago and Northwestern tracks directly in the path of the 1151, which does not stop in Lake Forest.
It's not a local, it's an express. Oh, wow.
John says, I was so shaken by this tragedy that that I drank more lunch than I usually do and had to go home from work early.
Oh, wow.
No pictures, though, because didn't have his camera. Well, here's one more story sent in by a farmer from Union Mills, Indiana. Story from his own personal experience. He writes, Dear Uncle Larry and little Tommy, my wife recently brought home a stray dog, which was running lost along the road. Well, the dog took a fancy to my chicken coop and digs holes under the fence. Then she heads into the coop and steals eggs. It's one of them egg-sucking dogs.
Once they get the taste, it's
Yeah. We didn't know what to do until my neighbor, Fred, who is the best farmer in Union Mills, told us to make a small hole in an egg and fill it with hot chili powder.
Oh.
Well, we did. And for sure, now the dog won't even come near an egg anymore. The only problem was that we had to teach the dog to walk backwards downwind in order to keep her fur from catching fire. Jeez. Oh, you rural Americans are so crude with your humor. That's disgusting.
We love it.
Here is an amazing scientific breakthrough regarding cow manure. It says here, Australian scientists have developed a way to better distribute cattle dung over pasture land. Now, see, the problem, little Tommy, is cows will drop their patties around the pasture, and then the grass where that cow patty is will grow real green and lush, but just in that one place, it doesn't get spread around the pasture. So these Australian scientists have come up with this slow-releasing chemical pellet. Now, they put this chemical in the cow's food, see, and it finds its way through the digestive tract of the cow and into the cow's dung. Then the cow makes her plop. And when it's exposed to the ultraviolet rays of the sunlight, after a while it explodes. You see, and then that way they get scattered all over the pasture.
Explodes, huh?
Yeah. It says at first the cows may be frightened by the noise of the exploding plops. But after a while they get used to it.
Yeah?
See?
Well, there goes another plop.
Yeah. And that way the whole pasture gets fertilized.
Yeah.
Bill and Jack, in their accompanying letter, say here, perhaps you could use your influence to persuade the Chicago Mounted Police to utilize this chemical in feeding their horses. Not only would this improve the greenery in our city's parks, but the police could also use this discovery as a novel form of crowd control. Which is probably, at the next,
Maybe at Chicago Fest they could do that.
hey, yeah. Or the next time those teenage draft protesters get together.
Yeah.
They'd be running for cover when those horse plops started flying in their faces and into their teeth. Want to hear a great idea I just thought of?
Yeah.
I'm going to send to Australia. I'm going to get some of these chemical pellets. Then, see, I will slip one in Les Grobstein's hamburger.
Well, yeah.
Next time he has a hamburger up here at the station, and then won't he be surprised when he goes to the restroom the next time and his plop explodes while he's
And he won't know why. But
Well,
it'll follow him everywhere he goes.
while he's sitting right on top of it. That's a good idea. This is one of those stories that sounds too good to be true, but it is a true story. The setting is a dog show in Ohio.
Uh-huh.
The cast of characters, a woman and her 180-pound Great Dane, Topper.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the plot is the woman needs to go to the bathroom real bad. Okay? The scene opens. I'm just reading this the way it's written in the paper here. The scene opens with the woman heading toward a portable toilet located near the show arena. But one problem is that she can't find anybody to hang on to her Great Dane while she uses the facilities. And she's
Yeah.
got to go real bad, and she doesn't have time to mess around.
Well, it's one of those Johnny on the job things.
Yeah. So she does the only logical thing. She decides to hold the Great Dane on the leash with her inside the outhouse while her faithful companion Topper stands guard outside. So she secures the leash by running an arm through the loop end and, has it crooked in her elbow,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
She enters the toilet and closes the door. She's inside, the dog's outside. And all things are going according to plan momentarily. It is then that fate takes a nasty turn. A man in the portable toilet next to hers decides to leave, and as he does, he slams the door behind him, and it just sounds like a gunshot. This scares the dog. Says Topper bolts from his guard post, yanking his 100-pound mistress from the toilet seat. The toilet shakes, and suddenly the door bursts open, and with Topper straining frantically at the leash, his owner is bodily dragged across the ground. The woman is equally frantic. She has a huge dog. See, this dog weighed 180 pounds.
Yeah.
She has a huge dog tugging the leash in one hand, a roll of toilet paper in her other hand. Portions of her clothing are out of place. She is on her hands and knees, ordering, begging for Topper to halt. Says passerbys caught up in this bizarre spectacle are no help at all because they can't stop laughing. Says the stampede finally ends several yards from the portable toilet. And then it says the woman retained her composure very well. She was very calm and held the leash in her mouth while she put her clothes back on. And all these people are staring at her. And then she returns to the portable toilet again and goes inside to put herself back together. But geez, is that embarrassment or
wow.
what? I mean, her dress is up and her pants are down around her ankles, and here's this Great Dane dog dragging her through the dust.
Oh, great story.
Too bad somebody didn't get that on film. Wow.